Hello, everyone. I'm going to be talking today about adding details onto, say, a house or a building or a structure. I had one of my patrons talk to me specifically about this drawing and asking me how she could create some kind of depth or have these windows be inserted, have this be a porch, have these, things just kind of stick out because right now they look like they're just kind of painted on the side of this house. So I'm going to talk about how what is a good way to like pull these things out and give it some kind of dimension. Hi, my name is Luis Escobar. I'm a storyboard artist on the Simpsons television show. I've been working on the show for over 20 years, and we're going to take a look at these details. Now, this is really pretty good already. So, let's tackle this problem. Now, let's say right now that what you have here as the details of this house, let's say that this is where you actually, the origin of where you want these things to appear, or this is the general placement you want these things to appear. Now, this is a really good place to start. In fact, the fact that it kind of looks like it's flat and it's kind of painted on here is helpful because it gives you a general idea as to what you want your placement to be. So the answer to the question is really very, very simple. Once you have kind of like this, almost like a sticker version of where you want the object to be, then, for example, this is a window. So we have this window here. Now, windows tend to not just be squares like this. If you were to actually look at a real window, they often have a border or a frame. So let's just give it a frame. And just by giving it a frame, you already added a realistic detail. I recommend you look up a house, look up to see what a window pane on the a window would actually look like on the outside of a real house. And then just emulate that one. Okay, so now, but the problem is we still have no depth. So what do we do? Okay. Let's zoom in here into this very pixelated drawing here. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to use my vanishing points, and I'm going to follow some of them and make a very, very shallow edge. So what I'm basically doing here, and you would probably see the top here too. Ugh, you can't see it because it's so pixelated. So what I've basically done is the equivalent to this object that Anastasia here has done to this object, only shallower. So I've taken this and I've added an extra dimension just like I would. So this is kind of like this in miniature. And on top of that, I will also add an interior version of the exact same thing. Here's the vanishing points. And I just follow the vanishing points from this corner, follow the vanishing points. Make it as shallow as possible, just to add a little bit of depth. And now we've got this has depth. Okay? Now, it's the exact same thing that we want to do with this. So this is going to be a porch. So we've already got the outline of where we want to begin. And all we have to do is extract extract the porch from here. So like, and this vanishing point here. It's tricky. I can't. So we're following that. What I was going to say, it's tricky because this vanishing point is so um, almost horizontal. It's just slightly horizontal. And I don't think these lines are perfectly straight here, so they're kind of conflicting. So it's kind of hard to see. But that's what I'm doing. I'm just following kind of this vanishing point and this vanishing point here. And I'm going to basically make a square on the floor here as a guide. Is this how long I want my porch to be? If so, then I could just go straight up from this corner. There should be a corner here. Like I said, hard to see because of the way that this angle is coming out. It is right here. But fortunately, the ground is actually helping. And this should be straight from here, straight across. And then the vanishing point here. And the same for this. So now we've got depth. We've got the door. We got the depth of the porch. I don't know how big the porch is. I don't know if there's an overlapping roof. I don't know if there's a thickness to the ceiling. I know Anastasia was using reference for this. She kind of Frankensteined a house. Okay, and then maybe this is a post. So I'm still using, I'm going to add some thickness here. I'm still using all the elements that are here, and I'm just what I'm doing is extracting them like a 3D object. Like I'm just kind of like pulling the three-dimensionality out of. So now we've got a porch. Same with this garage. This garage is similar to the window. You just add an element of depth just like this. Just like the side of the house, only very, very shallow. And now you've got the garage door has depth. This doorway would probably have a frame. The doorknob, and you could add a little bit of depth in here. Okay, now these windows up here are kind of tricky. Because what you've got here is windows that are coming out of this angled roof. So if it helps, show yourself the angle like this. Just give yourself some angle guidelines. These are hopefully parallel. And the reason for this is so that you can know where to have like these lines end up and etc. So we'll do something similar to what we did with this, where we went inside rather than extracted. So let's say we've got this. This is as far as we want this window, this part of the house. I don't know what these things are called. So I'm adding depth so that it's not just a line. So I already have this roof, but maybe I shouldn't add this depth yet. But um, okay, so we want this to stop at the edge here. So let's say that this is parallel, and this is the edge that we're going to. So taking our vanishing points, we follow them to the edge. But this doesn't look right. Does it? So probably ends like this. I'm thinking. I would actually have to look at a actual house. My dad's an architect. He probably would have been able to figure this out. But already you can see that this has much more depth. And again, same thing with this. If this is the line we're headed toward, and this is the roof, then we just follow the vanishing points. And we do the same thing here. And so we already have depth, and then these windows would probably have like a border and some thickness, etc., etc. Oh, and then this probably has some kind of thickness too, etc. So be mindful of your reference, be mindful of details, and just exactly using the exact same principles that you use to make a box. Make super, super shallow boxes and extract things and make boxes. If it helps to make guides on the floor, especially with something like this, make the guide on the floor. If you want to, if you're unsure about something in space, make the guide first on the floor. Make it flat. And then add depth afterwards. Give yourself a guide. Okay? There's a way to make a perfect grid on the floor. And maybe I could tackle that in another video if you want. But it is very helpful to make these little boxes here and then just add depth to them. Okay? So like when you're doing this sort of thing, or even when you're creating the house, But it's the exact same principle that you are following when you're making these things, and and you just eyeball the depth. How thick do you really want it to be? Um, and remember that the side of the of an object is not necessarily the same length as the front of the object because of this thing called convergence, where things just naturally get narrower on the sides as they get closer to the horizon line. Okay? They naturally converge and get thinner and thinner. Okay, I hope you found this helpful. Um, If you found value in this video, I encourage you to go to my Patreon account and become a patron. And you could exchange value for value. Like the lowest value you could go into is $1 a month. And that would actually give you the opportunity to watch all these videos immediately after I make them. The videos in this channel tend to sometimes appear months after I made the video. Also, another benefit to that is that you get your questions answered immediately or as fast as possible. I get a lot of questions from people who are not my patrons, and that is absolutely fine. I want you to ask me any questions, and I will answer them. However, when my patrons ask me questions, they get their answers first. They get their questions get moved to the top of the queue, and I answer their questions before I answer anybody else's. So if you want your questions to be answered immediately, then I encourage you to become a patron in order to have that benefit. If you don't mind, then don't worry about it. All right. So thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you next time. All right. Bye.